he will always be my baby.
Yeah.
You know, I got Junior, my baby, and you met Junior.
I get it.
But Christian will always be my baby.
Sure.
Because he can't think for himself. My son is handicapped.
Okay. So
he has cerebral palsy, mental retardation. He suffers from asthma. He's epileptic.
And welcome back to Now We're Dads. Today we are joined by someone who has helped me out quite a bit in this journey and becoming an influencer, becoming podcaster, TikToker, content creator, whatever you want to call it. He has kind of inspired me in a lot of different ways and helped mentor me in a lot of ways too. Like I said, TikToker, podcaster, YouTuber, streamer, aviation enthusiast. Guys, please give it up for Dave Mercado.
Hello. Welcome everybody to the podcast. And nice to be here with my boy Nas.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're trying to grow together. We're trying to help each other out. Let's see how this thing goes.
Yeah. A.K.A. Skyline216. Please check them out on TikTok.
That's right. We're open on TikTok and YouTube, Lemonade, Scoots. We got to know.
I've never heard of Lemonade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of new out there, but I'm out there too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I brought you on the show because although you're also a content creator, I primarily talk about being dads and trying to figure out, navigate our way, raising our kids and figure out what's best for them. And also how do we live our lives after having kids as well.
Right.
So I want to tell us how many kids you have. Tell us how many grandkids. I also know. Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. So I have 4 kids. My oldest is 27, which is my daughter.
Which is my age, guys. Yeah. He's got a kid my age.
I got a kid his age. Yeah. So then I have my son. He's 26.
Okay.
My other son, he's 25 years old, which I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about him. And my youngest is about to turn 13. So.
13.
Yeah.
So you had them 3 back to back.
Yeah.
And then one much further away.
That was that's my pride and joy too, because it's the baby in the house. So yeah, we got him in the house. So, and I also have 7 grandkids. 7 grandkids.
That's intense, man.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you had your first?
I believe I was 17 years old when I had my young kid.
You were young.
Back then it was different.
Yeah.
Different times living than what we are right now.
For sure.
Having kids now is real hard.
Okay.
When having kids when I was younger.
So are you saying that kids then were easier than they are now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Things were a lot more cheaper, less complicated, less chaotic.
Sure.
Now things are kind of chaotic, crazy out there.
Yeah.
So for kids,
What I hear is that kids are liabilities nowadays.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to tell my daughter that, but
you didn't used to hear all this chaotic stuff that happens in schools and stuff like that when you was growing up.
Okay.
When I was a kid and when I was growing up with my kids,
Sure.
I wasn't as much as afraid as I am now sending my kids to school.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it was a completely different time.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, that was just starting out. So you hear, not just starting, because I actually don't know the history behind it, but I remember hearing about it for like midway frequently. But now as an adult, it just seems like every week there's just something happening at schools So I don't look forward to the day of having to send her, but hoping to be able to put her in private schools and see if that's a little bit different. But who knows?
See, technology back when I was growing up, it was different.
Okay.
There was no cell phones. There was no laptop. There was none of that stuff. Now kids have access to all that stuff, and people have access to your kids. So that's when things change a little bit,
Yeah.
So controlling that social media and all that stuff for the kids is important.
Crucial. For sure.
Yeah.
Do you have an age that you think introducing that stuff to your kids is okay? Because you're obviously very much in the world of technology.
Yeah.
Very much in the world of being interconnected with people and social media. But what age do you think it is appropriate? And maybe not an age.
I'm going to be honest with you. My son has been in social media ever since he was a kid.
Okay.
It's how the parents teach your kids. Has a lot to do with it. Okay. How you raise them up. If you just let them do whatever they want and not pay attention to what they're doing, of course they're going to do bad things.
Right.
But if you're constantly on top of it, stop at what they're doing, checking their tablets or phones or whatever it is that they have available. Yeah. And I do think that kids to a certain age should not be on all that stuff. They should be more like watching cartoons and stuff like that.
Yeah. Being kids.
Yeah.
Go play outside.
Yeah.
That's when I was a kid. That's how I was spending a lot of time at my grandma's house with all of my cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And we did have like a 64 in the house, a OG Xbox, and yeah, you guys see I'm into gaming, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we were just told go outside and play.
Right.
We played kickball, we played tag, we played hide and seek, we'd
Right.
play whatever.
Things were different back in the days than what they are now.
Yeah.
Things are reversed. You know that, right?
Okay.
Because back in the days, our parents used to be like, Mira, you got to get back inside. You spend all day outside. Now our parents are telling their kids, please go outside and play.
Because the same kids that were always wanting to be outside, now their kids want to be inside.
Now the kids are inside because they're on their devices, they're on their phones, they're on their games.
Yeah.
They don't want to go outside and play and stuff like that. So their parents are actually telling their kids, listen, you need to go out there and play. Get away from the devices. Get away from all this stuff.
Sure.
So you could go out there and have fun, Don't miss out.
Make some memories,
Yeah, we didn't miss out on anything when we were kids.
Yeah.
Trust me, we were always at the beach and my parents would fight all the time. Get inside. So, there was nothing to do back inside. If we had tablets and phone back in the days, that would have been a different story. But no. Yeah.
Very different time indeed. I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
I remember me and my cousins would go to our neighbor's house next to she lived right next to my grandma's house. There was a lady who would sell limbes. Right next to my grandma's. And she would also sell other snacks, Snickers, hot fries, and other chips and sodas and stuff. Yeah. And we would just walk in through her front door. She had a little shop set up in her kitchen. And we'd buy our snacks and then go continue playing. And I honestly don't even remember me telling my parents that I was even doing this. I don't even know how we came across knowing this lady. Right. But now looking back, I'm like, I would be terrified if my daughter was just going in some random lady's house. Right. I was like 6, 7, 8 years old doing this with my cousins.
Yeah, we used to do that in Puerto Rico. We used to go to this lady's house. And in Puerto Rico, they have in different houses that over there, they have literally houses where they sell the limbe. Limbe, if you don't know what it is, it's the icy. It's with the cup.
I guess I should have explained that. Yeah. Yeah, limbes are life.
Candy. And they will have a bunch of candies in their house, like 5 cents, 10 cents, a penny. We used to buy candies for a penny. You can't even do that anymore.
Yeah, it is insane.
Single candy is probably like 10 cents right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But we used to go there. We used to get all that stuff. And, then again, for my first part of my childhood, I grew up in Puerto Rico, so it was completely different than it is here in the States,
So at what age did you move from Puerto Rico to here?
I was like 12 years old when I first moved in here.
Okay. Yeah, it's old enough that you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think some of the biggest differences that you think of how, like, trying to remember at that time period when you were 11, 12 years old in Puerto Rico into 13, 14. And where did you move to in the States?
Well, first of all, I went to New York first.
New York first.
Yeah.
Huge difference than Puerto Rico.
I lived in the Bronx. Now, that was a whole new... Yeah. That's a different story right there, because you're talking about...
hey, shout out Bronx to my older brother.
Yeah, Bronx. So let's go Crotona and E4 I used to live over there.
Okay.
It was fun over there living back there in New York back in the 80s. 85, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, you weren't even born by that time.
Not even close. Not even close.
You weren't even born by that time. So, yeah, we used to... It was fun. I mean, living in New York was fun. It's just... It was a different lifestyle than we were in Puerto Rico. We were constantly in the beach, and we were constantly heading out with our friends. I miss our friends, and we used to live in a motel
in Puerto Rico.
In New York.
In New York, okay.
We used to live in a motel, and we used to live right across the street from the Bronx Zoo, and the Botanical Garden, and it was fun. We used to love it. I hated the schools in New York. P something, blah blah blah. I forgot what the number of the school was. I hated the schools in New York. They were horrible. And I got used to the schools in Puerto Rico. Schools in Puerto Rico, especially the lunch in Puerto Rico. If you're Puerto Rican, you know what I'm talking about. Arroz con gandules.
And school.
Oh, man. The food
I guess I should know that.
Food in Puerto Rico is amazing.
Because obviously I ate that at home, but never at school.
Yeah, school, man. Oh, man. The lunch ladies, man, that would give you more. Ooh, that was awesome. Sure. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun back growing up in Puerto Rico. It was just, things were getting rough in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Things were getting rough in Puerto Rico. Even though my dad had a good job, but
even in the good areas, it was still a little rough.
Yeah, it was getting rough. We lived in a really crazy neighborhood.
Okay.
But living in the States was fun. Coming to Ohio, it was a completely different thing.
You said you came to the Bronx, right? Would you still think that the Bronx was probably better off than compared to where you were in Puerto Rico at the time?
No. That's why we went back to Puerto Rico.
Okay. Was it just as bad or worse?
It was worse.
Oh, okay.
It was worse.
Bronx
Yeah,
was worse
yeah.
than Puerto Rico at the
We
time.
wake up in the morning, we were tripping over homeless people. So yeah,
Sure.
tripping over homeless people, and it is. I love New York because I love the city. The highlights of the city, a nice city. The city's
Right.
beautiful.
So as an adult, you'd love to be in New York,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but not as a kid.
It's for visit. That's it.
To visit.
I wouldn't live in New York now.
For sure.
I would love to visit New York because New York is just beautiful. I mean, I love the subway system.
Okay.
It's funny because I watch TV and I watch the subway system, it's trains out in New York, and immediately that smell comes in my face, in my nose. I'm like, I smell the subway system in New York. For real, it's just
Distinct smell.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people out there that would
and
get
the
that.
experience that we had in New York, it was pretty good. The stores from back in the days and stuff like that, and everything is. Half those stores that from back in the days don't exist anymore. Alexander doesn't exist anymore. I don't know if you ever heard of Alexander.
Never heard of that.
See, that's what I'm talking about. all the old school stores that were back in the days, they're all gone. They're all gone.
So then you ended up going back to New York, or back to Puerto Rico.
I went back to Puerto Rico back in 1990. I came back and moved to Cleveland.
So you were about 15, 16-ish?
No. I was about 12, 13.
Oh, so you just went straight back. Like you were here for a short amount of time?
Yeah, I went back to Puerto Rico. I was there for another, because I lived in New York for like 2 years only.
2 years.
Like a year or two. I don't remember exactly. I know, but I lived in New York for a little bit. Then we moved back to Puerto Rico, and I felt like, oh yeah, that's just perfect. I'm at home again.
Yeah. Okay.
But we moved back to Ohio. We moved back to Puerto Rico. Then we moved to Ohio back in 90. We kept going back to Puerto Rico, back and forth from Cleveland to Puerto Rico, to travel and spend some time with my grandma. Because back when our abuelitas were alive, we used to have fun.
Awesome.
But once all those older people, I don't know if it happens to everybody, but once your abuelitas and your aunts and all that pass away, the whole family caught up.
So I've heard that with a lot of other people that I talk to, because I always grew up with a very tight family.
Right.
But it all started with my great grandmother Mercedes, rest in peace. And after she passed, I was about 4 or 5, and obviously I don't remember her too much, but this is just the stories that I was told from my mom and my aunts and everything. After she passed, my grandma Evelyn took over the mantle and kind of kept the family together. Would have people over, have all the grandkids over, and have holidays at her house. And after she passed when I was like 12, again, rest in peace. And now I have an aunt who takes up that mantle and has kept a lot of us together still. And not just her, one of my cousins, he hosts Christmas at his house. Another one, the one in Atlanta, she has people over at her house, and they still make trips to constantly come out. So it's not as, I know it's tough to try to keep everyone together, but I would say we still are pretty strong. Multiple branches apart. Yeah. Still pretty close with each other. I'm blessed for that.
See, most of my family from my mom's side, which was the one that we kept us all together, they're all gone. They're all gone. Within 10, 15 years, we lost about 20, 25. Because that family was big on my mom's side. We used to do our gatherings back in the day. We used to do it in a hall. That's how big it was. I remember
those days.
Yeah, but once my grandma, which was, I think my grandma was the last one, or one of my titis was the last one, because there were only like 3 people left. Both of my uncles from Puerto Rico, actually, 2 of my uncles in Puerto Rico. One of them he's young. He's just a couple of years older than I am. But my other uncle that lives in Puerto Rico, my mom's brother, and the one that lives in the military in Tennessee, and my mom. Actually, one of my aunts. That's it. 4 people. 4 people. Once those 4 people are gone, the whole side of the family from the old school, they're all gone.
From the old school, right? What about their kids?
Oh, we have a lot of cousins.
All right, do you guys ever keep up with them?
No.
Sure.
That's the thing. We don't do family reunions anymore.
Yeah, it's tough.
We don't do family reunions because don't do family reunions. We don't get to meet the other side of the family.
It takes like 1 or 2 people to actually kind of coordinate everything and put everything back together. And I said, lucky in my life, I've had a bunch of people who have taken up that mantle. So I just show up and here goes all my family.
Yeah. If we do a family reunion, oh my goodness, we'll have to do it in a park.
Yeah.
That's how many people it is.
For sure, man.
That's how. My mom alone, she has like 37 grandkids.
I do like to ask this of a lot of other Puerto Ricans, but how do you know a lot of the other cousins, like names and trees, still alive, or do you just at a certain point you just kind of lost track, and after you haven't even heard about them from a
I
decade.
lost track.
Okay.
I lost track. I got a lot of my cousins that live in Puerto Rico still.
Yeah.
Some live in New York. Some live in Europe. They live all over the world.
Right.
I don't know.
Most of them, yeah.
I don't know most of them. Yeah.
We're pretty good. We're like, I just had one cousin. I think she's pregnant or about to give birth. I have to ask my mom again. But we still gossip amongst each other just so that we can still keep up with all the family tea. Who's being born? How many cousins we do have on this branch of the family now?
Right.
And some of them I've never even met, and they're like 5 years old. But I still know about them. I know their name, and excited one day to hopefully actually see them. The ones who kind of live a bit further, you know.
See, I wanted my kids to get to know my family, my side of the family from my mom, but fortunately,
so your oldest kids, did they get to grow up with your family?
No.
Okay.
Well, my daughter did.
Okay.
My oldest,
oldest?
my son, my 26-year-old, he was living in Puerto Rico with his mom. But my son, my daughter, she did. She knows my mom. She knows my side of the family. But
awesome.
It's like they were not really close. You know, her mom didn't want her to actually have a relationship with my side of the family. So.
1 second. He gets too excited.
Yeah.
Look at this. I love him. When I'm by myself, I have no problem with this. It's just he also does it when I'm recording.
I got a dog at home too, so we good.
You know the deal, man. All right, he makes me lose track.
Yeah. It's just having kids in general is tough, you know, especially when this is one thing that the kids nowadays need to understand. If you have a parent that looks for you, don't reject them.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in the world and your dad looking for you or your mom looking for you and you reject them. Because put yourself in our shoes, you know. If you have a kid that's looking for your parent and your parent reject you, that will hurt. And it's the same way.
Yeah.
It's the same way, you know. You gotta let your parent, unless that person did something so horrible to you that you cannot forgive them, that's you got that choice.
Yeah.
You know, if it's something that's, you know, then you got that choice. But if it's just something that somebody put in your mind, oh, this person's bad, you don't look for him. No, don't do that. Give them a chance. See what's up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely think I can do better at that. I just interviewed my mom yesterday and we talked about how sometimes I might be a bit like I pull into myself a bit and don't and just block a lot of people out just so I can kind of quiet all the noise around my life.
Yeah.
And I do that in spurts. And so like sometimes I'll go a while without talking to family. There's no hard feelings. I just kind of go within myself quite a bit. But I know sometimes I do that a bit too much with certain people, maybe just because, not because I have any negative feelings towards them, but just because I don't really know how to address certain things from the past, and they still need to be addressed. And I'm not like angry about it, but for some reason I don't know how to address it. And so I just kind of ignore it for quite a while. And, you know, I've gone, I've got a complicated past with my dad. And as much as my dad was a great dad, he loved me very much. I've never once thought that I wasn't loved growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But there are moments now where he keeps trying to reach out, and it's not that I want to push him away, and I don't like, it's not like a wall, but there's definitely a buffer, and I don't know what it is within me that's like kind of stopping me from just reaching out to him as much as I talk to my mom. And
I am closer to my mom
than
I am with my dad. I mean, it's not that I don't care about him or anything like that. I call him from time to time to see how he's doing.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from. Me and my mom, I call my mom every day.
Every day?
Every day. Every day.
My mom would be jealous.
I call my mom every day. And if I don't call her, if I miss one day, she'll call me and be like, hey, ¿qué pasó? You didn't call me.
My mom lives 7 minutes up the road, and I might go like a month.
I'll see that phone ring. I was like, uh-oh. ¿Qué pasa que no me llama?
It doesn't matter how old you get.
Yeah. You know, and my mom now, you know, having cancer and doing chemo and stuff like that, you know, I try to reach out even more.
Of course.
You know, and let me tell you something. There isn't a better time to look for your parents than now that they're alive. Because when they're gone, they're gone. You know,
any questions you may have, you can't get answers anymore.
A lot of people say, oh, but daddy, I miss him. You know, you don't come out here crying. It's like I tell my kids, I'm looking for you right now. I don't get to see my grandkids. I got 7 grandkids. I don't see them. you know, and it hurts because I want to be part of their life, every single one, but
Sure.
I don't see them at all. And if something ever happened to me, it wasn't my fault because I did my best to come look for you,
So,
for my kids.
first off, I want to say sorry about your mom, and to know
Yeah.
that. And secondly, I guess I want to touch into that a bit. So, from what you told me in the past, you don't have the best relationship with your kids right now, or the oldest
Right.
3,
Those two.
the
Yeah.
oldest 2.
Because there's a story about that third one, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I want to tell you.
So the other 2, right? Are all 3 from your previous marriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my daughter and my son, they're not different moms anyways. That was back when I was crazy, young, and wild. Don't do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't do that.
We've all got pasts.
Trust me. You want all your kids with the same mom, and trust me. My daughter's mom and stuff like that kind of kept her way. I didn't get to see my daughter until she turned 1 year old.
Wow.
1 year old. That's the first time I seen her.
Okay.
Then I was constantly looking for her all the time, looking for her until this day. I want her in my life. I want my kids in my life.
You have 2 daughters, right?
I got one daughter.
One daughter, and the rest are boys, right?
The rest are boys.
And so the oldest is the daughter.
Yeah.
The one who's my age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then my son, he lived in Puerto Rico most of his life. I wanted him to be with me so I could raise him over here instead of to raise him in their life in Puerto Rico.
Is this the middle child or
That's the second one?
the second child?
The second one. The third one, his name is Christian. Here's the story about him.
Okay.
He will always be my baby.
Yeah.
I got Junior, my baby, and you met Junior.
I get it.
But Christian will always be my baby.
Sure.
Because he can't think for himself. My son is handicapped.
Okay.
So he has cerebral palsy, mental retardation. He suffers from asthma. He's epileptic. And when I mean epileptic, he gets seizures every 3 seconds. Yeah. He gets his micro seizures every 3 seconds, and he gets the big seizures all the time. He's in hospice right now.
He's in hospice.
Yeah, so he can't leave. Well, in the hospital where he can't leave anymore.
Sure.
He has to spend the rest of his life in the hospital now. So, see, my ex-wife think that I don't know these things, that I don't care about my son, but I reach out through other ways, like my.
So his mom, does she have any of your other kids, or is that your only one with her?
The only one with her.
Okay, and
she has other kids.
Sure,
yeah.
and she keeps you up to date with everything.
No, we don't talk.
Okay,
we really
so
don't
then
talk.
Who do you reach out through?
Family and friends, and her own kids. My beautiful stepkids that I helped grow up, which I consider like my kids.
Sure.
I call.
And they still reach out to you?
Yeah, so I call her, and they never like, hey, how's your brother doing? And she keeps me up with everything.
Awesome.
And that's how I keep up with my son.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's
yeah,
it is tough.
But you know what? My son's been sick since he was a kid.
Okay. So he never really had
he
never had a chance to kind of live a normal life.
No.
Was he in hospital?
One time he ran out of the house. He ended up on the street. I never brought him in. He ran out of the house. The little man ran out of the house.
When did he develop cerebral palsy?
I'm telling you.
I'm sorry to laugh.
That was years later. But no, one time he's out in he loves water. All right. He loves water. So when we used to live with my ex-wife, we were living outside. We're living outside. We're outside, right? We had the sprinkler going and stuff like that for the grass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He takes off his diaper because he had to be on diapers, even though he was 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
Because of his condition.
Sure.
Out there butt naked, running around the yard. I was like, Christian, get over here. Get over here. Bring him back inside the house. He loves water. He loves water.
The water's nice.
Man, he loves water. His mom, we did she sent me the paperwork to sign him up for like a Make-A-Wish and stuff like that. And he went swimming with the dolphins.
That was his wish?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, that was her wish for him.
Her wish for him.
Because the noise of the dolphins is kind of a therapy for kids with autism.
Really?
A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know dolphins are smart, but...
Yeah.
Okay, that's insane.
Yeah,
but how do they find that out?
She must have done some research or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, so she had him go swimming with the dolphins. Did he enjoy himself?
Oh yeah. Listen. Even if there was no dolphins on there, the fact that he was in the water,
he was happy, right?
We call him Aquaman because that boy's like Aquaman.
Okay.
He belongs in the water.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. Miguel Phelps.
Yeah. Michael Phelps, yeah. Yeah. He loves water. He just loves water. Now, Junior, which the one that you met,
Yeah.
he's 12 years old. You see how tall he is. He's
a big kid, yeah.
As big as I am, yeah. Now he's into sports. So he's into sports now. So
yeah,
if you want to know anything about the Cavs, the Browns, or the Guardians, just ask him. He'll tell you because he knows all. He knows it all.
What does he play? Football?
He likes all of them.
Okay.
He follows every single sport out there except for hockey and
what does he play though?
And he's into basketball now.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is tall.
He likes to throw the football, but he likes basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, he's constantly playing on this little hoop that we got in the backyard. He's throwing the ball, and he likes that. He's pretty good about it.
You gonna put him in sports?
Maybe, I don't know. In school, he's doing the basketball thing in school. See what happens, but
for sure,
trying to teach him how to shoot.
So, at what you said when Christian was about 9, you were still around. So, at what point were you not really in his life anymore? Like, how old? Like,
he
when did
was around 12, between 12 and 14, I think it was.
Okay.
So his mom.
So you stuck around, obviously. Like you were there for your kids.
Yeah, his mom and I got divorced, and he stayed with his mom.
Sure.
And they moved to Florida. So yeah.
Okay.
Last time I seen him was like 2 years ago. Okay. I went out there and see him in the hospital. Yeah, I'm overdue a trip again over there. I gotta go see him.
Sure.
Yeah, I miss him. We call him Baboso because he was always slobbering himself. We call him Baboso. Yeah. He always be the baby, you know, because he's so loving, you know. He'll come to you, he'll grab your face, and he'll start just kind of playing with your face. That's what he does, you know. He's a loving little boy. Yeah, well, a loving little man because he's now 25 years old.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's awesome.
Sometimes I can't believe I got kids that old. Yeah. So I'm an old man.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm still young. I'm in my 30s.
So then your grandkids are all from your 2 oldest then, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So my daughter has a boy. Well, my granddaughter, she's the oldest.
Okay.
Then my grandson, then another grandson that she just had. So that's 3 from her. My son started with a girl. Then he had another girl. Then he had a boy. And I just found out that he just had another boy. So he has 4. And I said, just keep having kids because you're the one going to raise them. I mean,
for sure. Are they?
I'd love to see them and spend time with them, but hey, you know, at the end of the night.
So what's the biggest divide between you guys, if you don't mind me asking? Why don't they have you? Because I understand why an ex maybe not.
Yeah,
you know, you guys are talking to each other.
My daughter, I have no clue. Because I tried everything with her, and everything. Everything she does is with her mom. That's it.
Okay.
With my son, I think it's his wife. And I don't know why, because I sent for her to come over here. I let them stay in my house. I fed them.
Oh, so this didn't happen until he was an adult.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were there. Obviously he was raised in Puerto Rico.
He was raised in Puerto Rico. Yeah. We kept in touch from time to time.
Sure. So I wouldn't, you can't get blamed for that. Like he lived in a whole different,
Right.
But you kept in touch. He came out here, and you guys did have a relationship. You tried your best, reaching out to him, and you said when he got married, it just kind of slowly.
Yeah, when he came over here, and I thought everything was we're gonna have a nice relationship between me and him, because me and him do have a good relationship. It's that she keeps him away because right now she wants him to be only with her side of the family. So, you know, she doesn't want my side of the family to be involved in his life. She only wants, it's just, me and my mom and the kids and you. That's it. That's all there is. And he doesn't see that. He doesn't see that, hey, you do have other family here. You know, your grandma's sick right now. You don't even pay attention to her, you know. But
before you guys were separate, did you ever notice that she didn't like you, or did it just kind of happen all suddenly?
No, because when she lived in my house, they
lived with you.
They lived with me. I paid for their plane tickets to come from here from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Her, my granddaughter, and my son, and I let them stay in my house, and they moved from my house to my dad's house.
Okay.
And I guess they don't like the fact that I told them that they had to get the broom like the room clean and stuff like that. Because they,
Maybe, yeah, I get it.
I don't
I would
know.
say that I understand that sometimes families, we chip in to get someone to where somewhere else, right? You
Mm-hmm.
let them stay with you, and that's happened in my family a few times in the past, and it happened to me. My grandma, who is actually my stepdad's mom, right? She took me, my mom, my stepdad, and my little brother. Both me and my brother are not my stepdad's kids,
Mm-hmm.
so we were not her grandkids. But she took us in,
Right.
moved us in, and obviously it's going to be stressful because you're letting a whole other family inside your house, and
Right.
it's her house, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as much as my mom was her own independent woman raising kids by herself for quite a while, being a single mom for a time, now she is dependent on another woman for a time in her life, which it didn't last super long, like maybe like 3, 4, 5 months. Forget the exact timeline, but um, I can understand it does create stress. But I would
Right.
still say that if it's your house, if someone's staying in your house and you're putting them up, then it sucks. You might have to put up with the rules, and then
Yeah.
if you don't like it, start working and get your own
See,
place.
I had to live with other people before, and
Yeah,
you know what? I had to adapt to the
to
rules.
their rules. It's their
I
house.
kept the room clean. I kept, helped them out around the house or all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
whatever you can do, of
yeah,
course.
you can't live with somebody and not care about their house.
Yeah,
That's just the bottom line. And that's why a
yeah.
lot of people nowadays say they even say this on social media says, "Do not bring people into your house." That's
I'm
true.
hearing that. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
That's
Like
true.
I think my family's still pretty respectful.
Yeah.
Like if I needed to bring someone in, like from my side, I would mostly trust all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but you're right. I've heard a lot of horror stories from people.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring them in your home, and that's they want to take over.
Yeah.
You know. So thankfully, my son moved out and on his own. My son said, "You know what? I'm gonna move. My grandpa has an apartment here for us. He moved out now.
Okay.
He's been living on his own with his wife and kids, but now, let me tell you a
So
story.
he's local then.
Yeah, they live 10 minutes from me.
Wow.
My daughter, my kids, they live 10 minutes from me. My grandkids live 10 minutes from
Oh,
me.
and your daughter.
Yep, they all live
They
here.
all live here.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't live here is my son Christian. He
Christian.
lives in
Yeah.
Florida, but they all live here and not spending time with them.
Yeah.
And my grandkids, I love my grandkids. I want to spend time with them. I want to take them
So
out and
when was the last time you saw? You said they moved in with you when they had their first, right? Their first of four.
right.
And did you meet any of the other grandkids?
Well, my granddaughter from my son, yes, I met her. My two youngest grandkids,
Still haven't
my
met.
three youngest grandkids, I haven't met. One of them was a year old already. So yeah, it's tough having grandkids and not being able to be on their lives. It's tough, especially when I want to be on their lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's even my grandkids from my daughter. Even though when me and her had an even better relationship, she didn't bring the kids around too much. No, once in a blue moon, I get to see my granddaughter and my grandson, or I run into them on the street. And grandpa, that feeling that makes you feel good. Yeah, this is my grandbabies.
Right.
But that's how these kids are raised nowadays. They're raised differently. If they would have been raised with me, I wouldn't have done that because I'd be like, no, that's your grandma. You're gonna go spend time with your grandma.
See your family.
You know?
When I was raised, my mom and my dad got divorced when I was about 4, and that's when they split. But regardless of whatever happened between them, they've got their own issues, And
Right.
my mom feels betrayed by my dad, and that's just stuff that relationships go through in their 20s and 30s and stuff, and
Right.
that's like, yeah, it's so far in the past. But regardless of whatever happened between them, he wasn't abusive or anything. He just um he always showed up for me. And
Right.
so however my mom felt about him, she put all those feelings aside to make sure that that's your dad. Go see your dad. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for that because I've got a lot of great memories
Right.
with my dad. I don't ever, like I said, it never felt like I was never not loved or anything because he always tried to be around.
Yeah. See, whatever happens between the mom and the dad, that should stay between them two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because let's just say that I had custody of my kids. I would never tell my kids bad things about your mother.
Yeah.
I say no.
Of course not.
Your mom. You're gonna need to spend time with your mom.
Yeah.
You know.
Your mom loves you deeply.
You need her. You need her in your life.
Yeah.
I would never keep you from your other parents, because kids are raised better
Sure.
when both parents are in the picture.
And I don't, for me, I don't understand how some people might keep kids away from the other parent. I understand that, some people might feel sensitive or hurt about whatever went down. And I get if someone's abusive, then that's a whole different story. You
Right.
know, if there are certain lines that you can cross that would. All right, I'm sorry, you lost your kids, and
Yeah.
you really messed up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
me and my daughter's mom are split up now, and we obviously whatever has happened between us, there was a time where it was hard for us to kind of communicate. It was hard for us to kind of talk, but we have since then have overcome most things and been able to actually remain active in each other's lives, to become friends and focus on what matters most, and that's
The child.
that's right.
Yeah.
Raising our daughter. And even when we weren't good, we would still, schedules didn't change, still picked her up at the same time, didn't play any games with it. And yeah, maybe like when I picked her up, there wasn't a conversation. It was just, all right, bye. And just like,
Yeah.
my daughter
Yeah.
leave.
Yep.
A little awkward, maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little side eye comment, or you know what I mean? Like whatever. Like if
Yeah.
talk your shit, whatever, go over there. But even if like I'd rather that than just not being having access to my kid.
Right.
And luckily, my daughter's mom never once played a game of, no, you're going to be in your kid's life.
Yeah.
Like, stay in her life. And I obviously always wanted to be there. So whatever happened between us, we worked it all out and never put our kid in the middle of it. And now we're able to actually just be around each other, no issues. Like I can call her now and be like, hey, I need help with something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
see, I get along really good with my daughter's mom. Me and her get along really good. My son's mom, we haven't seen each other since my son was like 14 years old.
Okay.
So for the most part, I think we get along good. But now my other son's mom in Florida, that's a different story. So I'm not even gonna get into that
sure,
one.
Yeah, that's a too long of a story for sure.
Yeah, that's just too much. But you know, we try to move on. You know, we got to move on.
Yeah.
You know, and even though I don't have my grandkids and stuff like that with me, and my kids, my two oldest kids in my life, because I exclude Christian because his situation
it's different.
It's different,
of course.
But a message for my kids, my kids are like, you know, you do have a dad.
Sure.
You know, you do have a dad, and you have a dad that care about you and care about the kids and the grandkids.
If you message him, will he ever will he respond to you?
So let me tell you something. My son texted me after a year and a half or 2 years that we haven't actually talked.
Okay.
About a year.
Sure.
About a year. He texted me. His exact words were, "Dad, can I borrow money?" You know, it wasn't, "Hey, how you doing? You know, how you been? I miss you," or nothing. It's just straight shot. "Hey, I need money." So
sorry, he's attacking my
that's,
hand. I don't know if they can see it on camera, but he's attacking my hand.
He is chowing on your hand. Yeah, and you know that makes you feel kind of bad. Like seriously, that's what you call for. You know, it's like it's simple call just to say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Have you tried reaching out to him throughout this like year and a half, 2 year process?
A bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of times. So the problem is that the only way to message him is to like Messenger and stuff like that, because I don't even have his phone number. You know, he has like 3 different Facebook accounts. I don't even know which one's which. And the only one that I have is probably not his main account.
Right.
So, oh yeah, I spoke with my daughter about, let me see, my grandson's like 4 months old, about 3 months ago, something like that.
Okay.
When he was born, when my grandson was first born, he's probably a little older now. And she said, when the baby turns a little older, because he was born a preemie, I'm gonna bring him to you so you can see him. Okay, I'm still waiting. You know, and I see pictures of her with the baby and family members and all this stuff. They going all over the place. The baby's taking pictures with a bunch of people. I was like, okay, I think he's old enough for you to bring him so I can meet him.
Yeah.
No. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough being a dad, and that's why I'm saying it's like being in your kid's life now is more important, because it's not that I didn't want to be in my kid's life. I did. It just didn't turn out that way. But being in your kid's life, I always wanted that relationship with my daughter, like that. You're my little girl. You know what I mean? You know, I'm pretty sure you have that relationship with your daughter. That's your baby.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted that relationship with my daughter. You're my
mom
little
likes
girl.
to
You're
say
my little
that
princess.
My mom and my daughter's mom like to say that I'm wrapped around her finger.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted that relationship with my daughter. It's like, you're my little princess. You know, I'll do everything I want. Everything I want to do as a parent to how do I say this? Like you're my little queen, you know. And I wanted a nice father love relationship with your daughter.
Is that reina in
You
Spanish?
need me for anything, I'm here, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, I tried my best. It didn't happen. So, you know, and it's interesting because I have that relationship with my son now. You know, my son and I we're close. You know, and
This
I
is
say,
the middle one.
no, David Junior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the, with Junior.
Me and him we have a really good relationship. You know, he's
Yeah, see, when you bring him in, he's
yeah, yeah.
he's always attached to
Yeah,
you.
he calls me Fluffy.
Leave it to your kids, right?
I had to say it. That's my nickname from him. He calls me Fluffy. I blame my wife for that one.
Yeah, did she call you Fluffy?
Yeah. Yeah, he calls me Fluffy.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he you know, he comes to me with sometimes he comes to me and says, Dad, I gotta talk to you about something. It's like, okay, you sure you don't want to talk to your mom about it? It's like, no, this is personal. This is between you and me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the kind of relationship that I always wanted with my daughter. It's like you could talk to me about anything that you want to talk about. I will always listen to you.
Right.
Even at this point, at her age, I'm still open to have a nice relationship with my daughter.
Of course.
And with my other son too.
You're not gonna hold any grudges against your kids.
No, God, no. I love my kids. I wish they knew that. You know.
Do you think they think otherwise?
I have no idea. It's hard to tell. With them, it's hard to tell.
Okay.
I wish they knew that, you know, I do care about them, you know, and I want them in my life, and I want to have my grandkids. I want that right nice relationship when my daughter pulls in the driveway, my grandkids run out to give me a hug. You know, that's the kind of relationship that every grandparent wants with their kids, but that's not always the case. So, and that's why I'm urging parents out there, spend as much time with your kid. That's important.
Good. Which is always our message on the show.
Mm-hmm.
All we do is talk about fun stories about our kids.
About poppies and kitties.
Yeah. Okay, so enough about the past. Going forward now into transitioning to what you do now and how we've kind of started talking more and more. And obviously we've worked with each other. We've always been cool with each other. But when I started this podcast and I was talking about it a lot because it's on my mind, I'm always thinking about it. And to find out later on that, oh, actually, you've been doing content creation, photography for a long, long, long time.
Yep. Yeah.
And actually have quite a bit of a following. So when I went and talked to you, you actually showed me many, many things. So I'm curious as to how did you get started into actually caring about where did it start? Was it photography first?
Yeah.
Or?
So when I was a kid, I used to go to the airport a lot.
Okay.
I used to go to the airport a lot because I'm an aviation enthusiast. You always in the clouds.
So you've been into aviation since a kid?
Since I was a kid.
Wow.
Since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Because when I used to go from Ponce in Puerto Rico to my grandma's Juana Diaz, we used to drive past the airport and I would stare at the lights and at night it was so beautiful.
Wow,
that
the
was
hobby never dies then. I mean, it might take breaks, but it always
that was an attraction. So
awesome.
When my dad got his first camcorder, I used to go out there and use to borrow his camera.
Really?
And then we're talking about those ones that you put on your shoulder like this, so huge things like this.
I remember seeing those in
cassette
movies.
Players, yeah, and 8-track and all that. Yeah, I used to go out there and take it. And my dad once recorded the whole flight from Cleveland to San Juan to Puerto Rico, from Cleveland to Puerto Rico, the whole flight.
He recorded the whole flight?
He recorded the whole thing.
Like
I said, Dad,
from
why?
in the plane or?
From in the plane, yeah.
Okay.
So we had that saved up for a while. Then once YouTube opened up,
were you pretty early into YouTube when it?
Not for years after it opened up. For
Okay.
years, then I bought this little camera, a Canon Power Shot, beautiful camera, took some amazing photos. And I used to go to the airport, take pictures all the time. Then some years later, I opened up my first YouTube channel.
Okay.
And
how many years ago at this point?
Wow. I'll say about 10 years.
So you've been in this game for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I used to go out there just to kind of record them and stuff like that. I didn't actually start.
Yeah, you're not looking to build an audience
posting until years later.
Okay.
Then I started. Somebody told me about this one spot by the airport where you could get close to where you were. Somebody told me about that spot.
Oh, the place you showed me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See how close we get to them.
Yeah, so someone put you onto that spot. So by the way, so he does live streaming on TikTok, guys. Again, if you haven't seen it, Skyline216.
Right.
We'll put your link in description down below. And he did bring me out there because I wanted to learn more about live streaming on TikTok in general. Right. I had a free day, wanted to hang out and learn about planes. And I'm not an enthusiast, but I had a good time out there.
It was fun.
Yeah, we were really close to the runway.
Yeah. So at Hopkins Airport in Cleveland, we're next to the runway. Where I
don't have to say exactly where your spot is, but
we were about 200 feet from the runway.
That's sort of yeah,
we were about 200 feet from the runway, so it was pretty close. And we had fun. It was
a great time. You've got a really good audience.
My whole point is here to how to teach Nas how to do TikTok, how to do live streams on TikTok.
Yeah.
And now that he's doing YouTube too, try to get him going on YouTube to a point where we'll get you going out there, because I have over 3,200 followers on YouTube. Even though I kind of slow down on YouTube a little bit because focus more on TikTok, but I want to get back onto YouTube.
But TikTok really did well for you because right now, I think the last time I checked, you passed 27,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah, 27,400 followers on TikTok. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so my bad. We skipped ahead back to your dad was you were taking your dad's your camcorder. To the airport.
I will take my dad's camcorder and I will go to the airport and the child will record the planes and stuff like that. Then I got my first power shot, and that's when I ended up at that one spot. Okay. But in that little camera that I have would not take videos. So until I got my first camera that I used to record with the phones back in the day, and the phones, they were real bad. Because if I post one of the videos from the old camera from the phones, it
might just look like a silhouette flying.
I'm telling you, man, that would look like like black and white.
Yeah. It's that Loch Ness monster in the air.
And we're talking about those old school Motorola phones and stuff like that. Flip phones,
The Razor.
I had pictures on the flip phone. The Razor. I had a Razor too.
Yeah,
I think everybody that had a cell phone had a Razor at one point.
I actually didn't.
No?
I was a little too late to the Razor.
Well, yeah. From the older generation.
Well, a lot of my friends had them. I just didn't get a phone that early.
Yeah. So I mean, once I got a better phone and stuff like that, I got to upgrade to a new phone, and that's another story. I went to upgrade; they went too much. It's crazy, but I've been doing the live streams with my camera now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you start actually trying to actively posting on YouTube and trying to build an audience?
So YouTube was like 6 years ago, 6 or 8 years ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. That's when I started posting my first videos and stuff like that, and I have close to 1,000 videos on YouTube now.
Oh, you were grinding.
Yeah. So I was putting a lot of videos on YouTube.
We have 15 episodes out right now.
Yeah.
And it feels like I've put in so much work. I could not imagine 1,000.
Yeah. I what I should have done back in the day is, well, I don't know. You don't know. Is this editing? It's a big key. Yeah, and you do a good job at editing.
Thank you.
You do a good job at editing. You will see it on the video. You see it, but
editing is key. Yeah, this is going to be the first episode with our new format. We have fully transformed our set here on the Now We're Dads podcast to a full triple camera set here.
Actually, we have 4 of them because I brought mine.
Yeah, you brought yours. And when we live stream, we might have up to 6 cameras on us at once.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for you guys to see how everything has changed.
Yeah. And I'm gonna keep helping Nas grow up and stuff like that. With the studio and stuff like that, giving them tips so he can grow on YouTube.
Camera tips.
But one thing that's gonna help them guys to grow on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if you watch this on TikTok, go ahead and give him a follow.
Yeah.
Do that for my boy.
Thank you guys.
Because he does an amazing job of editing. He does an amazing job with the interviews and stuff like that. You can see it on the video how great he does. It's up to you. That is up to you.
Awesome.
Give my boy a subscribe. He deserves it. He works hard. He works hard,
and I appreciate that, yeah.
And getting people in here, he's helping me set up my own podcast at home for aviation, though. And I already my last live stream. I got to tell you what happened.
Yeah?
I had talked to one of my pilots that, because I know a lot of pilots from my YouTube stream, on my TikTok stream, I'm sorry.
Right.
And I interviewed a couple of my pilots actually live.
Awesome.
By the airport.
Yeah.
And I told them about my podcast and they want to come in and and do the
Awesome.
the podcast interview.
Yeah,
So that'd be great.
You know what?
Who knows? I might have Nats with me too. I might have him over here with me because he has a good question. You have some fresh questions.
Awesome.
Than what I'll be asking.
I'd love to talk to a pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But until then, we will definitely do I'll do some live streams. And after this episode, if you guys haven't seen, we will probably have gone live by this point.
Yeah. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the videos. That's key too.
Like the videos.
And share.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to wrap it up then?
You know it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Now We're Dads. This is going to be episode 16, guys. 16. I am here joined by David Mercado, A.K.A. Skyline216.
That's right.
Okay. Again, his links are going to be in the description down below. Please follow him on TikTok, YouTube, and what other platforms?
Lemonade, Scoots.
Lemonade and Scoots?
Yeah, I even have Scoots on there.
Never heard of Scoots either.
Yeah, I know me neither. And so that's what they go.
But thank you guys. Again, this is Nazareth.
I'm David.
Have a good one.
Take care.